morning and welcome back to another Sunday morning with the Blerd Church of Anime. I'm your preacher, your teacher, your pastor, your cult leader, whatever you want to call me. I am Black Star here with another hopefully inspirational message for you this week. Yeah, my voice is kind of gone. It's because of BlerdCon. And I also want to do a huge apology. We missed last week. The plan was to live stream from BlerdCon with the testimony service, and a series of technical issues happened. First off, we were in the basement where there's no Wi-Fi signal, so can't stream without Wi-Fi signal, right? Cool. So I buy conference Wi-Fi from the hotel for that day, thinking we're going to be able to still set this up. It's going to work. We're going to make it happen. Second problem, in the exact room that we were in, there was no cell phone service. So if you didn't have Wi-Fi, you couldn't even use your phone and use your cellular network. Third issue, the laptop that I bought the Wi-Fi for died right before the panel and I lost my charger. So I had a backup laptop, but then didn't have the time to rebuy the whole package for the hotel Wi-Fi. So couldn't put on my phone, did some recording, took some video, was hoping to then upload it later. Video didn't come out great on the phone, couldn't get a lot of sound. It was a whole thing. So I'm sorry. I wish I really y'all could have been there in spirit with us for the testimony service at BlerdCon. It went really well. A lot of people spoke and talked about some of the anime and manga and comics that really inspired them. It got me rewatching Tanya the Evil all over again based on one of the testimonies. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I need to rewatch that whole anime. It was just a fun time, and BlerdCon all around was a fun time. And then you come home and you deal with the con depression. You're not being around your people anymore. The exhaustion from being up pretty much from 7 to 7. I think I got maybe 5 hours of sleep the entire weekend I was there. The con crud. That's part of the reason why my voice is gone a little bit, getting over that. And you'll probably be getting this episode a little bit late because I was trying a lot this week trying to get the little bit of video we did get from the testimony service out and then figure out that wasn't going to work and then had to pivot to a regular scheduled video. And also just coming back from the con, had a full week of things. It has been busy, 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 busy. But overall, not a bad week. It wasn't terrible. I just have so much on my plate. And I realize I'm acting like I'm at Thanksgiving dinner and I got to get every single thing that is available in seconds. So I'm working on it. But overall, my week has been great. Stressful, taxing. My voice is gone. But it's going to get better. I hope you had a good week. I hope it wasn't as taxing. I hope it wasn't as stressful. I hope you're getting ready for things like St. Patrick's Day and fun things of this weekend. If you're not, it's okay. Not everybody celebrates the same things. I hope you're not stuck in the craziest of weathers that's happening in the U.S. right now with storms and blizzards and things coming. I'm waiting for the snow to start in my region right now. It's a lot for March. I'm just going to put it down. But if you didn't have a good week last week, you know what we like to say. F last week, this incoming week's going to be better. We have to believe in something. We have to hope for better, which is very funny because I think a lot of this message is going to be about hopelessness. Yeah, let's buckle up. I can't talk to y'all too long. I ain't got no voice for it. But again, for the shout out for BlerdCon, our new joiners and followers because of BlerdCon. So happy to have you here. My wish, my hope for the future of this is that, we take the Blerd Church of Anime, the Sunday morning experience, and we do it at all the Black Cons. Love this to be at DreamCon, but of course, you got to get me bigger up in the numbers because DreamCon is really about creators. Con, Atlantic Con, all of the Black Cons around. We want to be able to be there and show up and have you guys across the nation because you can always make it to a BlerdCon. I get it, but able to experience this live and give your own 2 cents because we love a community. We love folk to talk back at us. It is what it is. All right, let's talk anime and your inspirational message this week. before I get directly into the anime, uh, I think I may have mentioned this before that I went to div school, graduated um, from div school, and it really did inspire me. Uh, it really did inspire me to like to start doing what I'm doing now with church and all of this. I really, really, really think there's a lot to talk about when we look at theologies that are not standardized, especially in like the big three. When I say the big three, I mean Christianity, um, Islam, and Judaism. Because I mean, it's just, if you know the history of any of these religions and study theology, there's just so much. There's so many people who have created and like pushed towards different theologies and different ways of thinking, which is fair. One of the things that really fascinated me when I was still in div school was this theology of hopelessness. Uh, Miguel de la Torre wrote this book, and I really, really liked it. Like I forgot what class it came up in, but it's pushing back on the idea that all things work for the good of those who love God and who has been called according to His purpose, which is in Romans 8. I think it's 8:28, and he talks a lot about where is the theology when things are going completely wrong, when you don't have when things look hopeless. And I know there's tons of theology around hope and God will get you out and blah blah blah. But I mean, but we look at some truly evil times in history, like the Holocaust, being enslaved. And yes, there's always a shining idea of hope that, evil will be conquered, God's protection will help everybody. Good Christians believe in that. And it's still a little bit problematic. And so I really like challenge people to think about the theology of hopelessness, whether you're Christian or not. I think what De La Torre has written and really like found about embracing hopelessness as a theology, because what I really look about it is that it rejects this easy solutions for temporary soothing, and it really rejects this idea that you don't have to do anything. It's really interesting. Again, I keep saying the word interesting because I think there's some points in life where, we are all about change and hope. Thank you, Obama. And then that passes by. Some of the changes didn't happen you wanted. There was still hope in the future. And then we get slammed with the current administration. Yeah, I'm going to call it out. And a lot of things that are happening right now, especially with another war in Iran and no clear direction, no strategy. And to be very honest, I have friends in the military. I have loved ones in the military. I have loved ones who have their own loved ones in the military. And it's a very fraught time. Some of them who like, this is the job, I'm going to do what I have to do. Some of them who are like, I joined and I didn't want to do this and I don't have a say in it. And it's not, I think, for us as Americans, not as bad as what we know has been happening in Palestine, what we know to happen in Syria, what we know to happen in the Congo, what we know to happen again during the Holocaust. But this starts to smell a lot like Vietnam mixed with Iraq and the war on terror. And there are so many families on both sides of the conflicts who become disillusioned and feel hopeless around what can happen and how they can protect their loved ones. And I never want to downplay that. I never want to be like, just put your faith in the anime of this thing. And like, I get, I get why people have depression. I get why people struggle. I get it. And I think what I really loved about the Embracing Hopelessness theology by De La Torre is it meets people in those situations. It meets people when like you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel and tell you that it's okay. And I thoroughly appreciate that. And so the anime I want to talk about this week I don't know if a lot of people have seen it. It's called Zenshu. It's fairly new. It came out in 2024, 2025. It was on a lot of people's list of the best of 2025. First off, it's an original story from Map. So you know the animation is gorgeous. Baby, this animation is gorgeous. It is, if you're just an animation geek, you should watch Zenshu off the pencil and pens and colors itself with different animation styles happening. I am not a complete animation geek. I watch things for stories and characters, but even when I watch Mappa stuff, it's like, oh my gosh, like the colors are killing me. Zenshu is wonderful, but Zenshu is also a really interesting tale. It's about this young anime um, artist who was very, very young and had a very successful TV show that popped off. And so now she's getting the chance to write and produce and direct her very own anime movie, which is a big, 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 big deal. Uh, her name is Natsuko Hiroshe. So Natsuko, we're gonna call her. She is, very very particular about her stuff. Well, while she's working on the movie, she eats some bad clams or something and dies. Like first episode spoilers, let me warn you. Um and then she is reincarnated into the world of the anime movie that inspired her to be an animator. Yeah, so she becomes a a character, or she wakes up in the world of A Tale of Perishing, which is the name of the movie she watched over and over and over again, that essentially inspired her to get into animation, to practice, like, learn how to draw and doing it and over until she became this amazing anime, what's the word I'm looking for? Animator. There we go. That's the word. The problem with waking up in the world of A Tale of Perishing is that although she loves it and she loves this character and she loves this movie, it is a tragic story. As you learn about the world of A Tale of Perishing, because it reminded me of those 80s and 90s like American animated movies where clearly the directors don't like kids. Anything by Don Bluth, where the purpose is not to have a happy ending. The purpose is to scare children. The purpose is to tell you kids that life is not fair and bad things will happen. And A Tale of Perishing is a tragic anime about things are going to happen and the hopelessness of trying. Now that Nezuko is there with her favorite character, with this animation that she knows back and forth because it's all the times she watched it, she decides she's going to alter the storyline the best she can so that she can bring hope to this utterly tragic movie that she loves. And how does she do that? Well, she has the power in this world to bring her animations, whatever she draws, to life. Y'all, it's a really, really cool story. I think y'all should totally watch it. I try not to bring any animes or mangas or comments that I don't think you shouldn't like enjoy out here, but it is so cool. It is such an interesting premise. Again, as a animation geek, as someone who loves watching movies and TV shows, I can't tell you how many times I dreamed about going into my favorite worlds and being a character there, let alone having powers in there. And then she gets to do it, and she's this great animation or animator, and she's trying so hard to make sure like her first loved characters are able to have a better ending than what she knows happens. She's literally defying fate for these people. But I don't want to talk about the whole anime. I actually want to talk about a teleperishing because I think it's very interesting when we get into the storyline of a teleperishing, what is happening and what this and why a director. And again, this movie was considered a critical flop by a very like popular director at the time. But I think it's really, really interesting to say like, hey, why did that why did this creator make a tale of perishing? Like why? What was she hoping to accomplish with such a, I don't know, such a like a hopeless show? So our TV or movie, whatever it is. Okay, so a tale of perishing is really a story about how this world, right? And they are the main cast. Sorry, let me back up. So Hotel Perishing has this main cast. There's like this character, Luke Braveheart, Memlin, Unio, and QJ. They are these special warriors who are battling the void. The void, right? First off, the thing is called the void. And the void has come and has suffered and taken out all of these different towns all around this world. The nine soldiers, actually. So, like, they're the last four of the nine soldiers, which tell you, like, five soldiers have already perished. And the void monsters are keeping up. They're trying to stop this thing from happening. They're at the very last human settlement called Last Town. And this is like the final battle where the void is coming in. And in the teleperishing, so many, like Luke Braveheart, which is such a generic name, I love it, is the main character, and Luke is like the main character that Natsuko really, really gravitates towards. Like, he's the first person she learned how to draw. And she knows that he's going to have this terrible fate as he tries to like defeat the void and really tries to save Last Town and protect what they call the soul future. That's where the Last Town is built around, the soul future. And this is what the voids are trying to eat and destroy and like wipe out all life. And in the original movie, like, they fail. That's the point of the movie. Despite having nine warriors, they slowly whittle down to just Luke. And then Luke in his this desperation, and Luke in just being betrayed, having his friends die on him, watching, like, they win several battles, but ultimately they can't like stop the war. The war keeps happening. And so in all of his like his torment, just constantly trying and failing, and each battle losing a little more piece of himself. It's heartbreaking, but it's also like really sad to see how this promising hero, who is the shining light and example and hope for this last of humanity in various ways, because there are a lot of different characters and creatures, who finds love, but then the love dies, whose best friend dies, whose mentor dies, who's like, everyone around them. And they keep trying to be like, but I'm the hero everyone needs. I am what they need. I am the last hope. And having one person be the hope and have to survive just heartbreak after heartbreak and tragedy after tragedy is not sustainable. And I think that's what the producer of the director of this movie is trying to show. That having hope in one person, a few people, that everybody else just like, hey, we're bigging up these warriors to do this for us, is not a sustainable strategy. Like, everybody cannot depend on nine people to stop one of the greatest threats in your whole world. You know? It doesn't work that way, because those nine people also are allowed to mourn family and friends and their circumstances, and be, crippled or maimed, as some of the characters are, or have like different thoughts or different ways about what the void is and whether or not we should be even killing the voids versus this other. Like, you can't place your hopes on a few saviors. That is about what would have happened if all the town had come together to help destroy and block and keep off the void, right? And I think that was the main purpose of this movie. And I get that Natsuko, she's very focused on Luke, and she loves this movie, and she never quite fully understood, even though she loved it so much. And I get her wanting to get the happy ending for everybody. And we see that she goes to the extremes length to change the narrative and fighting against the future that is. And I think even she kind of learns that, because she tries to do it all on herself. Like, she knows what's going to happen. She's not trying to tell the characters, because why would you stop the story that way? And she does. She does end up changing some of the tragic events. She does end up rewriting some characters' destinies in some ways, but putting it all on herself and trying to be that last hope for everybody doesn't go the way that she thinks it does. She's not able to fully stop the big bad thing that's going to happen because you cannot put your hope in, again, just into one thing, one person, one entity, no matter how powerful they may seem. I say that in my embracing hopelessness kind of sermon to really say that there's a lot to be said about hope that the work that you're putting in, the time that you're putting in, will lead to bigger and better things, that you will help people, that you will help the future, you'll help your family, so on and so forth. I will never say no to that. But I also think there's a part of embracing some hopelessness that standing still and waiting for yourself to be saved is not going to be the move. That putting that onus on the military, on your government, on your government leaders to make the best decisions, to show you what is right, to have your best interests at heart, when you truly know that they kind of don't, that they're really doing stuff for themselves. It's okay to be hopeless about the powerlessness that you have in that situation, but then say, then I have to put hope that I can do work and grab us all together. Again, all my sermons going to come back to community because I'm a big proponent of community. All of us coming together and creating and pushing back and doing the work that we need to do to survive and possibly thrive in the future. Yes, there's some things you can't stop your friends who are and family members who are in the military from being deployed. That is a big system government of things happening. But you can put pressure on how the government's responding to things. Like there's protest, of course. There is country dissenters, of course. There is a lot of different ways that we can look through history and see how people have objected to wars being waged with American lives and families and resources. And we take a page, and we also know that a lot of those ways are not without risk and not without, um, putting targets on yourself. And that is part of the hopelessness, is that, like, okay, I'm willing to be a target if it helps protect and, like, can influence some other things. I think it's people who are politically inclined, folk who watch the news, who care about what's happening in their countries, abroad, all around. You know, this is a very scary time. I have conversations with, people who are forward thinking and people who know their history, because I love people who can pull into, like, what past things that we've done to kind of show where the future is leading and come up with scenarios. And right now, all those people are coming up with scenarios that don't look good for us. Like, to be out very honest, people are saying there's, one of three ways things can go, and some of this way that things can go, are still not great for the majority of people, even here in America and abroad. And that feels hopeless. But I still feel it, even in the hopelessness, trying to, like, regain and reconnect and focus and try to push towards a future that we may not even see right now. One that may not be revealed from our own history of faults and follies. And that does sound a lot like hope, but it's not being like, okay, it's going to happen. I trust other people. It's like, no, I don't trust other people. And I have to, like, be engaged and do that work myself. So I think what I'm really saying in this is, like, okay, we do have to be a little bit like our animator friend and be engaged and do the work ourselves. When we see where the bad ending is coming, and be very upfront, like, a bad ending is coming if we stay on the path, if we let things play out. What can we do? But then we also know that we shouldn't be doing it all alone, because one person doesn't quell the entirety of all of this stuff that is happening. We pull in other people. There's a part towards the end where it's like, okay, she can no longer hold her secret. She has to pull in the other members to be like, I need you to help save this, because this is going to happen. Like, she had to tell the truth and, like, kind of show that she had some of that forward knowledge of what's happening to be able to pull people to like really help try to, change the ending again. And again, I'm always going to preach community. I'm always going to preach that we are not an island alone. No matter what we do, we should be pulling in our loved ones, our community members, because it doesn't just affect us, it affects so many more people. And I think that's why I'm going to leave it here, where like you don't have to act like everything's okay. You don't have to believe that the future is going to come out okay. You can be hopeless, but in that hopelessness, you can still do the work to change the outcomes that you see are coming. Just plain and simple. And I wish this was like a more uplifting, but like it is kind of is what it is. There's a lot going on in our world, and I don't think we can hide from that. I don't think that we can cover our eyes. I mean, we can always bury our heads in the sand, but that doesn't make us better, and it's not going to stop the bad things that are coming. Again, don't rely on these mythical heroes, mythical 9 soldiers who are fighting this losing war. Some of us got to get up and do the work ourselves. And I think if you watch Zenshu, you will see how those little changes that our main character makes does change some of the other characters to do better. And I appreciate it. I appreciate that ripple effect. And another reason why I truly, truly do love that show. And the animation just bomb. It's such a smart show. It deserves to be on people's top 10 list for the year 2025. All right, I'm gonna stop there. Drink some more tea, get my life together. It is a Sunday. It's gonna be snowing soon, and I'm in the process of doing a lot of housework. So I hope that y'all have a fantastic week. I will catch you next week. We're still on it. I'm sorry we missed a week. That was not my plan. But, plans change and we become flexible and we do what we need to do. Share with a friend or our family member. Share with other people are nerdy, and like talk. Talk at us in the comments. Tell me, have you seen Zenshu? Are you interested in watching it? What do you do when you feel hopeless? I think I really want to hear from you. What do you do when you feel hopeless? Because it's a fair feeling. And it's not one of those, oh, just get over it. Like, nah, we can sit in our hopelessness as well. And if anyone has ever read Embracing Hopelessness, I want to chat with you. I generally love that book, and not in the way when I say like, oh, I love to read this or I love anime. It has been eye-opening and definitely has changed the way I view certain pieces of like when I'm feeling down, and looking into the future. So if you've ever read Embracing Hopelessness, I do want you to reach out, put it in the comments. I want to like definitely talk more with people, because it's been very hard finding people who have engaged in this theology. So yeah, that's it. I'm in jabbering and talking, so we're gonna end it there. Until next time, bye. The Blerd Church of Anime podcast is produced by Black Star, aka Lauren Tillman, written by Lauren Tillman, and hosted by Lauren Tillman. Music created by EL47.